Welcome, everyone. So nice to see folks joining in. For those that are just joining, know that we have enabled closed captioning. So if you are interested in having those, they don't automatically turn on for you. If you click on your navigation bar, it should be one of the options available to you. We also will be using the Q&A today. So if you do try to use the chat, know that that's why you won't be able to at the beginning. We did disable that just so that it's easier for us to keep track of the questions as they come in. Okay, I see that folks are still joining. So I will get started, even though I know that there will be some of you that are still joining. My name is Migdalia Gomez. I am the AVP of Community Engagement at the Harvard University Employees Credit Union, and I'm joined by my colleague, Dominique Verdura, who's the Community Engagement Specialist. And Dominique and I are here to really talk to you about budgeting and give you a lot of different tips. Really, this is presentations for you. So if there's something that we don't speak about or something that you want us to clarify, let us know. We are here for you. And if there's something that we can do better, also let us know. There will be a survey at the end so that we can gather your feedback. You also can message us privately. So if you do have a question or something that you want to let us know, you can message us privately if you are interested in submitting some other question. You also can submit questions anonymously, so please keep that in mind. Just to make sure that it's working, before I get into who we are at the credit union, please let us know, where are you joining us from today? So using the Q&A via Zoom, let us know, where are you joining us from today? You have been muted, you're off video, so no need to worry. We won't be seeing you. So if you're eating or have something else in the background, that is okay. Okay, wonderful. So I see that some folks have let us know they're joining for Burlington, Mass. We have someone BIDMC Boston, a lot of folks from BIDMC.
Welcome.
Let me see. We also have somebody from another one from BIDMC. Okay, I think BIDMC is winning.
Yes, big time. And then Leahy and Burlington.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So just like you let us know that that's where you're joining us from, please use that so that we can stay connected during today's presentation. So a little bit about who we are at HBCU. We are Harvard's not-for-profit financial institution. We do the same thing as a bank when it comes to services. We have credit cards, student loans, mortgages, RV loans, auto loans, savings accounts, CDs. We have cool CD rates going on right now, pretty high. But the biggest difference is that as a not-for-profit financial institution, as a credit union, we actually charge lower rates when it comes to our loans. We provide higher rates in savings, and we're more member focused because all of our members are also part owners, if you will, of the credit union. So a lot of what we do is focused on giving back to our community, and everyone that is joining today's presentation is eligible to become a member of our credit union. That is one of the difference between a credit union and a for-profit institution. With credit unions, you need to have a field of membership eligibility. You need to have some sort of connection. Because your hospitals are teaching hospitals that are Harvard affiliated, you are therefore eligible to join the credit union as long as you are affiliated by a Harvard affiliated hospital. If you were to leave your employer, you could still be a member of the credit union. But if you were to leave and not be a member and no longer have that Harvard connection, you would no longer be eligible to become a member unless you are an alumni of Harvard or were working at some other Harvard affiliated institution. And you'll notice that with most credit unions, there's some sort of connection that you need to have with the town or the people that they serve. But I'm super excited because we just opened a branch. It was like, what, 2-3 weeks at this point, Dominique? Dominique and I were just chatting,
yeah, almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. Yeah.
3 weeks. This time of year is a blur. It's December tomorrow. We're both like, wait, how'd that happen? So apologies for getting it confused, but thank you, Dominique, for clarifying. We've been open for 3 weeks. We have a brand new branch for those of you that used to visit us at the School of Public Health. This is like 20-30 times larger. It is huge. It is on the corner of Brookline Ave and Jocelyn's Place. It is at the floor level of Jocelyn's Diabetes Center. Right, if you know where Sweet Greens is, it's on the other side of the corner on Brookline Ave. So we welcome everyone to come join us. Stop by Friday, December 2nd. If you are around, we are having a morning minute. We'll be having some swag and some other items You don't have to be a member to stop by. Just stop by if you want. I will have some snacks and such for folks as well. Oh, someone said that it's right around the corner from your office. Awesome. So hopefully if you're around Friday, come and stop by so you can meet Dominique, myself, and our colleague Terrence, who will be there. With being a not-for-profit financial institution, one of the great things that we could do is that we provide free financial counseling and free financial resources to all of you, even if you're not a member of the credit union. There are some things that are more member focused, but general information that we have is available to anyone, regardless of membership, because we want our communities to be financially well. And we don't want information to be the reason that people aren't doing well financially. Information should be accessible to all. You can access this information on our website, huecu.org/thrive. This is where you can get access to our blogs, different workshops that we present, our YouTube channel. So if you wanted to see a recording of this or other presentations, you can see those on our YouTube channel. We also have an online educational portal. So if you're interested in a specific topic, let's say home buying or auto loan financing, or what's your money personality, which we'll talk about shortly, all of that information you can do online, get a quick little course, anywhere from a 5-minute course to 20 to 30. So relatively short. It doesn't have to be as in-depth. It's still helpful, but 5 to 10 minutes a day of information that can really make a difference. So we're going to switch gears and I'm going to talk much more now about why we're here, which is about budgeting. Do note that I am going to turn off my video, but I am obviously still going to be here. Dominique will also be here, but just to make it a little bit more so that you can see the screen and for the recording to be a little bit better, we have gone ahead and just turned off our video. So a couple of pieces. Why are we here? We're here because we're talking about budgeting, and we sort of know in theory what the dream budget is. We know what we want our budget to be like. Yeah, we know that we want to have more income, less expenses, and have money left over. That is sort of the dream budget. But we'd like to start off with, doesn't always happen. And before we get into the numbers of things, a lot of today's presentation is really going to be focused on behavioral economics. We want to understand, why do we behave the way that we do with money? Why do we, why can't we have this dream budget sometimes? Like, what are the things that get in the way? We want to start by acknowledging that, because once we acknowledge those things and become more aware of them, then hopefully we can find techniques, which is what we'll share today, that can help us still reach those dream budgets. Now, one of our colleagues, Terrence, he's so funny. When he does these presentations, he always says family always gets in the way of his budget. He keeps saying that they keep having kids, and for the holidays, it's getting more expensive for him. Dominique did give him a very good tip that at some point you just give gifts to the children and you stop giving them to the parents. Not always, but we have to think about our budgets. But family, sometimes it does get in the way. I know for myself, I sometimes have to help some of my family with some of their expenses. So, even if I have the best of plans and want to save for something, if a emergency happens in my extended family, I am one of the folks that, I help contribute to help with other family members' expenses. Then we also have advertising, / temptations that have come out. So yeah, whether it's those emails, I don't know about you, but how many of you are tired of getting the Black Friday emails and the Cyber Monday and the something Tuesday? Like this past weekend, I can't keep up with my emails. Like so many different businesses have been sending, oh, this is a great deal. This is a great deal. One of the tips and something that I started doing is just unsubscribe. Like it's getting to be a little bit too much. And it's also, for me, it's helping remove that temptation of, what, if I'm not seeing this offer, I'm less likely to buy it. And for the most part, if I need something, I'm going to do the research beforehand. And yeah, when I need something, then maybe I'll sign up for that email for that 20%. But then once I don't need it, I can sign off or I can unsubscribe. And then emotions definitely get in the way of our dream budgets. Some of us may be emotional spenders. I know, and especially for you being in the medical field, you probably know of a lot of people that are emotional eaters or have another emotional component. Some people may drink more, some people may exercise more. Like it sort of varies. But some of us may spend more when we are stressed, or sometimes when we're happy. That's how we, like to show that gratitude towards someone else. So those all get in the way of our dream budget. So how do we do how do we reach those dream budgets? What can we do? Well, one of the things that we can do is have an understanding of what these factors are, but also have an understanding of what is our money personality. There are many different types of money personality quizzes or money personalities, categories, if you will. This is just one of many. I put the link in the chat. It's a link to the Nerd Wallet Money Personality online quiz. And this is a quiz that is not developed by Nerd Wallet, but by a professor from Kansas State University. And it breaks down 4 different types of money personalities. So you have someone who could be money avoidant, someone who can be a money worshiper, someone who is more focused on money status, and then someone that could be money vigilant. However, even though I said someone, we tend to be a combination of these. There's no right and there's no wrong. We have different personalities outside of money personalities. Like some of us are morning people, some of us are procrastinators, there's not a right or wrong. It's just, this is how we are. I think we should all, accept and be happy of who we are and just know how to make those personalities work for us. So for example, I would say if you take the time right now, I put it in the chat, there are 8 questions, maybe 3 minutes to do it. You're here. This time is for you to learn about budgeting, learn about yourself, take the quiz. You're welcome to, if you want to share it in the Q&A, what your money personality are, you're welcome to share, but you also don't have to. This is really for you. Once you complete the quiz at the end, they'll give much more details on each specific one. Here, I'm just going to do a very high overview since you have the link. But ultimately, keep in mind that there isn't a good or a bad. It's more of, how do I make this money personality help me reach my financial goal? If I am someone who is money vigilant, it may seem like, oh, that's great. I'm focused on saving and I'm frugal. Someone who's money vigilant could also miss out on experiences. And that's a very important part. We have to remember that money is a tool to help us lead the lives that we want. And if we're saving, that's wonderful. But if you aren't having an experience, that could impact your well-being overall. I'll share a personal example. Right before COVID, I was very, very focused on a course that I was taking, big exam that I had. And I basically kind of told my friends, for the next 2 months, I'm really just going to focus on studying and focus on what I'm working on. And then COVID happened and I missed out on so many experiences right before. And then I was sort of not able to see my friends and my family for such a long period. And that was really challenging. And yes, it was great. I had money saved, but I would have preferred to have had experiences. And that's something that, keep that in mind if you're someone who's extremely frugal, make sure that it's not impacting you to the point that you're missing out. Now, someone who is money avoidant, what that means is you're not probably the first person to sign up for a course like today. And, for those of you that are here and intend to be money avoidant, then great, you did something to sort of help. For someone that's money avoidant, one of the suggestions that we have is scheduling time to focus on different topics of interest to you when it comes to your finances. During today's presentation, one of the tips that I have for everyone here is, hopefully you have a pen, paper, or you're on your computer and your phone, have somewhere that you're keeping notes. And by the end of the presentation, you should have 2 or 3 tangible things that you'll do. Hopefully you'll have much more, but especially for those of you that may be on the money avoidance side, try to pick, once you have that list, 1 or 2 things that you will do by the end of this week. And up to you how you define the week, if you want it to be the end of the work week, Saturday or Sunday, or a whole full week, as long as you schedule time to take that next step. So we're going to take a quick second here, and I'm going to ask all of you to take a moment and write down a financial goal. This is a financial goal that you want to reach for 2023. So it just happens to be that it's for 2023. Some people may say, oh, a financial New Year's resolution. That's fine if you want to think of it that way. But what is a financial goal that you would want to reach for 2023? This is something that you will not have to share with anyone. This is for you. And the reason that you're doing this is that most people that are financially successful, or even successful in most things, you have a goal. You have something that you're working towards, whether it's a degree, whether it's a position in your job, whether it's for those that are runners, a new mile, a specific speed that you want to run at, whatever it may be, most of us, in order to reach a goal, you need to have it first. So let's just take a moment and write down, what is a financial goal that you have for 2023? Oh, wonderful. I see someone said that they took the quiz and they're mostly money vigilant. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So now that you wrote down that financial goal, one of the pieces that we want to share some sort of budgeting tips and strategies here is having a financial goal is going to be important. And some of the tips to when you're reaching those budgeting goals is to try to break them down into smaller, more manageable goals. So if my goal is to save, let's say my financial goal is to save $10,000. And yeah, it's not the full amount by next year, but $10,000. Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I have to save $10,000 and I'm at $0. What if you break it into more manageable annual amount? And yes, I know that 10,000 isn't exactly 3,000 per, it's a little bit more than 3,000 each year. But again, just to round up, breaking it to smaller, what if I say, you know what, I'm going to start with trying to reach $3,000. But even then, if I have $0 in my account and I'm trying to get to 3,000, that's a big goal. And I may not reach it because I may give up before I start. So why don't I make it a little bit smaller and say, you know what if I can reach $250 a month? Making the goals smaller will help us stick to our budgets because it becomes much more manageable and you're going to have smaller wins. And this can be similar when you're trying to pay off debt as well. And yes, let's sort of flip this and say, well, what if my debt is $10,000 and I'm trying to pay off $3,000 a year or $250? Trying to break it down to smaller goals will make it so that you're more likely to stay on track and less likely to not continue, less likely to give up. So let's talk a little bit about budgeting styles. So there are many different types of budgeting styles. For our presentations, concept is really, really big. And what I mean by that is we'll talk about numbers, but we want you to walk away more with the concept because the numbers, we know the basic math. We know that you can figure out the basics of the math problem, if you will, but it's the concept, it's the behavioral science behind it. Why do we do what we do? That's what we want to focus on. There are a couple different budgeting strategies that we'll talk about. One of them is sort of the beginning of how do I create this budget? What should the amounts be for each category? One very popular one that's out there, and I truly like this for the simplicity, and that's one of the takeaways, is the 50-30-20 budget rule. That's saying about 50% of your income would be going towards essentials as you define it, 30% to wants, 20% to savings. Now, what I like about this is that you have the flexibility to determine what those essentials, wants, and savings categories are. So for example, if you are an individual that needs to have travel experiences to feel like that is essential to you, and whether it's a short weekend away once a year or something much larger, but like that is extremely important. That is important to your mental well-being. That's important to keep you energized throughout the rest of the year, something that you look forward to, then you could define that as an essential. If you aren't as invested or don't care as much where you go out to eat, then maybe the dining out isn't something that you put in, dining out is a smaller category for you. And that's where this is where knowing your money personality is also helpful. We also often hear people say, don't buy the expensive coffee or don't do this, don't do that. That is not what Dominique and I are here to tell you. Like, we're here to tell you, find what is important to you, put that as a priority in your budget, and then look at everything else and see how you can reduce the other expenses. So for example, if going back to that, the famous coffee example, if coffee is important to you, if going out to have lunch is important to you, then that is okay. See how you can make that a priority and reduce other expenses. So maybe you reduce entertainment. Maybe you don't have any subscription services. Maybe clothing, you only buy clothing a secondhand stores, or you don't buy clothing as often. There are other categories in everyone's expenses. There are categories that you could probably reduce the expense. And I like to think of budgeting as You're not depriving yourself. This is not about depriving ourselves. This is about, what do I want to spend my money on? Then let me reduce the other categories as much as I can. Of course, there are things like, we need rent, we need mortgages, we need to have basic food, travel for work, et cetera. There are certain things that we absolutely have to have in our life, but how we do that, typically there tends to be opportunity to reduce the expenses. Also know that 50, 30, 20 may not work right now because everything is really expensive. Inflation is real. We're all seeing it. Could be that our essentials right now feel more like 60 to 70. Like, I know I'm always surprised by, I should get used to it at this point, but like eggs have gone up so much in cost. I mean, milk have other things, but for me, buying eggs was always something that I could kind of gauge how expensive the supermarket was. And now even the least expensive supermarket near me, I go to Aldi's and Market Basket. Even there, the eggs are like $5, $6 for like the basic eggs, not the organic, not the cage-free, range-free, none of those. For like basic eggs now are extremely expensive. So we know that inflation is real, and hopefully things will start to change in the next couple of months, but know that we understand that it is expensive right now. Also keep in mind savings. Life is going to happen. I always, Dominique, not to put you on the spot, but I always like to use Dominique's example of a flat tire. Like, you're always going to get a flat tire at some point. Like, at some point it's going to happen, and having emergency savings set aside will give you peace of mind. Think about savings as giving you that sort of window, so that when something happens, you don't have to be financially stressed about it. It's something that you can manage. And also, worst case scenario, if you save too much money, I'm sure you can find something to do with that money. So, I've never heard someone say, oh, I saved too much money. I have absolutely nothing. I have no expenses that I could use that money towards. I'm sure you would find something to spend it on. So just give yourself peace of mind. Another budgeting strategy, and I tend to really like this one, is called the zero-based budgeting. So what zero-based budgeting is, let's say that my monthly income is $1,000. And again, concept here more than specific numbers. Now, if my expenses are $1,000 if my income is $1,000 each month, then I would want my expenses to be $1,000. But the expenses, that means all categories, including savings. So savings would be a category. The purpose of this would be that every dollar has a function, or every dollar has a job to do, if you will. So if I have $1,000, and let's go back to that 50, 30, 20 budget, 500 would go towards my essentials, 30% would go towards the wants. And I wouldn't have $200 left. Like, that is not the point of zero-based budget. That $200 would be accounted for. So I would have $200 allocated towards savings. That way, every dollar that's coming in already has a purpose, instead of waiting to receive the funds and sort of using it and then realizing, oops, I forgot to do this, and that. If you're the type of individual that does really well having, think of your favorite, it's lunchtime. So think of your favorite meal. If you're the type of individual, or favorite snack, sweet, salty snack, whatever it may be, if you're the type of individual that can have that unlimited amount in front of you and only eat a certain amount, I commend you. That's a lot of self-control. I think for most of us, if we have a box of chocolate, a bag of chips, whatever it is, we tend to eat as much as we want. If it's there, if we're, put calories aside, put health aside, like if we could, we probably would, if it tastes good, you probably would eat as much as you'd like. But what happens is, if you think it out about money, if you have all of your money going into, let's say, a checking account, and you're not tracking it, a lot of times what ends up happening is, at the end of the month, you see that checking account be depleted. Or if you're using a credit card, you see that your credit card balance has increased significantly. Like, you ended up spending more. With zero-based budgeting, what you're doing is you're basically sending the money where it needs to go, so that if I have to save, I've already put that in a savings account. So it's never hitting my checking account. I'm less likely to use that money because it's been allocated towards something else. And I want to go back to your financial goal. Like, if you have a financial goal, I didn't give you one for today's session, but let's say that my financial goal was to save for a trip to Italy. If that is my financial goal, I should have a line item in my budget, savings for Italy travel. And that should be going towards a separate account, because I will be less likely to dip into that account when an opportunity comes for me to maybe go out to eat with friends or do something that may not be a part of my day-to-day budget. And then there's another budgeting strategy. And I think some of us here may have done this, or maybe are still doing this now, which is kind of like spend and hope for the best. Now, spend and hope for the best, it really is a strategy. And it's a strategy in the sense that it's sort of what we do. And it's like, oh, I'm going to see what happens. And that's, if you're in that situation and it hasn't worked out, then definitely an opportunity to maybe see what other options are available to you. I also want to point out, life is going to happen, and it's okay if you lose a little bit of motivation. It's okay if let's go back to that. I'm trying to save $10,000 for my emergency fund, and I only saved, instead of 3,000 this year, I only saved 2,000. That is still a win. So I want you to think about reframing your financial situations. Yes, you wanted 3,000, you saved 2,000. That is still a financial win. You still have more than what you saved for, more than had you not saved. And don't lose motivation. Every day is a new day. Every minute is a new minute. It's a new opportunity. If you spent more than what you wanted on your credit card bill and it's the first week of December, you know what? You have the rest of December to make adjustments. And I know December is a challenging month for many of us with the holidays. So you know what? January is a new time. Their success does include failing. It's just an opportunity to try different things. So there was a question that came in the Q&A. I'm just going to take a moment to read this one. I like the idea of zero-based budgeting. Any suggestions on how to shift to this if you've been less diligent about allocating income to specific categories? Thank you. So I think one of the suggestions that I have is to actually write out a budget, and we'll talk about different other ways to budget, but I would actually suggest identifying the categories that are important to you. And then depending on, I'm not sure what software you have at through BILH, if you use something like at Harvard, we use PeopleSoft, and it allows us to add multiple accounts to our multiple savings and checking accounts when we get paid. So what we tend to do, or at least what I do, is that I'll have a category for specific, like I'll have an account that's for my travel. So I actually do just categorize them separately. I know some other individuals that they may have most of their money go to, well, not most, but they'll have a certain amount of money go towards their savings account, but then they keep an Excel sheet of different categories that's within their savings account. So for example, they may have $1,000 in their savings account, but they've decided, okay, of that $1,000, 500 is towards X, 300 is towards Y, and 200 is towards Z. Dominique, I don't know if you have any suggestions or any tips for the question that came in, or of sort of how do you make that work if you aren't already categorizing?
I usually try to spend a little bit of time, like maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes a week, trying to figure out what do I owe, who do I owe to, and then try to budget it that way. And I kind of go back to, I used to criticize my mom and make fun of her, but now I use her methods, which was really having an envelope and writing things down and saying, okay, this is going to go to this is going to go to that. But in I do it the reverse, which I use it in a digital way. So I go, okay, I'm going to go to my account and I'll send things via the internet to pay some stuff off, and then try to budget it that way.
Thanks, Dominique. And we were on a webinar, Dominique and I, a couple of weeks ago, and one of the presenters what they did was they had someone who preferred to put their spending money on a separate account, like a separate checking account. They had a debit card that was tied to that spending money. So they would budget, like, let's say, I forgot the amount, but let's say it was like $100 towards that. And they would use, when they went out, that was the card that they would use. So it's similar to what Dominique mentioned with the envelope method, like it's the money it's allocated, but instead of having physical cash, they had a checking account that only had money that was meant sort of their fun money. So when it ran out, they knew they were out of fun money for that month. Thank you for sharing. And if anyone else has any tips, please feel free to put them in the Q&A because I'm sure that we can all learn from each other. So we'll share ours, but we hope you do the same. So Dominique, you mentioned the envelope cash method. Thank you for telling folks a little bit about that. These are some of the different tools out there. I really, if anybody has a tool that they love, or even if it didn't work for you and you just want to talk about it, please put it in the Q&A. We will read that. You can submit anonymously, or if you want to include your name, that's fine as well. Because a lot of, especially those of you that are using Mint or other apps, if you wouldn't mind sharing your experience with those, or if you like Excel, just so that we could, again, learn from each other. So these are some of the different budgeting tools. I'm sure there are others. There's the envelope and cash method, which Dominique explained, but essentially it's allocating specific funds, putting it in an envelope, and using those funds for that specific purpose. There's online banking budget tools. We have one at the credit union. Most financial institutions have one. Your credit card company probably has one. A lot of times you need to activate this function on the desktop version, and then you can use it on the mobile app. Sometimes it's not like that, but if you don't see it on the mobile app, go online through their actual desktop version of the website and see if you can see it there. A lot of financial institutions do this automatically because your expenses are actually categorized on their back end. So now they've made it available for you. And you could even decide to recategorize something. So for those of you that are not currently categorizing, that could be another opportunity to see, your financial institution may already be doing it for you. Then there's Mint and other apps. And this is, if you're the type of person that enjoys apps, like if you have, your phone is full of apps and you have an app for everything, look into financial apps. It's about your personality. If you're somebody that hates Excel, don't use Excel. If you're a person that loves apps, use apps. Find what you're going to already stick to. Find what you already like. I'll share an example in my situation. I'm one of the few, I don't really have a lot of apps. Like I use sort of like the very basic, but I'm not a big app person. I didn't love Mint. I tried it. It did not work for my personality. I love Excel. I'm one of those folks that I like looking at an Excel sheet. I like changing things and making it fit to my needs. So for my personal budget, it's in Excel. And the way that I have it is I list my income. I include the taxes, even though you don't have to do it at that level. You could do the post-tax. But then I have all my expenses listed out. And what I do is I go in and I change expenses as they come up. So for example, December is a more expensive month for me with heating costs, with holiday travel, with holiday gifts. So in December, I am very aware that I have to spend less money eating out, or I have to spend less money and maybe in entertainment to sort of try to make up for the other pieces. So with budgets, it's important, even whatever you set up, to go in and check on it. Like Dominique said, a great example. She spends about 15 minutes each week doing that. That's important because you need to change your budget based off the time of year, especially for us in New England, where, the seasons do have a major impact on our budgets. Dominique, not sure if there's anything else you wanted to add to any of these.
I agree because I find myself definitely spending more in the summer because, that's my favorite season. So I'm out and about more, doing more things, attending parties. And of course, you're going here, there, brunch and hanging out with your friends. Whereas in the winter, I spend less because I'm always indoors. The most I'll do probably is maybe go to a movie, but then I have all of the streaming things. So I just kind of stay at home and not do a whole lot except kind of hang out with my family more.
Thanks, Dominique. And here's an example of a budgeting worksheet. And we have this on our website. Dominique put the link earlier. It's hucu.org/thrive. And then there's a section that says worksheets. That's where you'll find this. And for those of you that want sort of a starting point, not quite sure where to start with budgeting, this is a really good worksheet. It gives you an opportunity to list out your income. So we list some different income sources, but there isn't other. We also listed some of the common expenses for your home, transportation. And what I like about this budget worksheet is that we have a current and a proposed. So list your expenses, list your income, what they currently are. And if the bottom line is negative, or if it's zero, but you want to, or if it's positive, whatever it is, and you want to allocate that to other categories so that it's part of that zero-based budgeting, you can see what the current expenses are and what your proposed expenses could be. So you'll be able to see and compare and make changes right away. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dominique, who will tell us a little bit more about expenses and income.
Have you ever really taken the time to write it out and figure out, okay, what do I owe? Who do I owe it to? And how do I get cracking? And really just take a bite out of all of this, these expenses. And it's like, when you write it down and you actually see it, it becomes reality, as opposed to when you really think, you kind of figure out, okay, I think I know what I owe, but when you really write it down, it's like so real. So then you can really begin the process of kind of working through the budget. So one of the things you can start doing is spend 2 weeks tracking your expenses. Even if you want, save your receipts, and then kind of go back and check your statements and go, ooh, what am I doing? I'm kind of spending too much on this, or I'm spending too much on that. And then look at the expenses that kind of come around in a few months. Like for me, I have this one student loan that I pay like every 3 months for grad school. So I know that it's coming. So I kind of put an alert on my phone just to remind me, because it doesn't come every month. So I know that I put it like for the day that one day before it's actually due, so that I can pay it on time. So I don't incur any fees or anything like that. And I also set alerts on some of my credit cards just to kind of let me know, okay, I'm kind of going over, even my debit card. It's like, okay, this is what, if you're under a particular amount, if it's like say $100 or $50, okay, I know then I need to double check and slow down what some of my expenses are. And then really trying to figure out what things cost. How much debt do I owe overall? Then you can then figure out, okay, this is the strategies. I'm going to have to figure out a strategy to start paying off those debts. And some of the things that you can do is really reducing some of your expenses. So Migdalia talked about this before, like life is going to happen. So no matter what your best, putting your best foot forward, the best strategy, the best plans to kind of reduce those expenses, stuff will happen. So sometimes you have to shift your priorities a little bit. I know for me, this past summer, I was going on a huge trip to Ghana, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. But then I found myself spending way too much time hanging out at Starbucks and spending like $5, $6 on a drink. I was like, okay, so I would have to kind of maybe do it once a week instead of every day. So I had to shift my priorities because I had a particular goal, which was to go on that trip. And I know that it was going to, cost some money, and I needed to also have some spending money in case I found little trinkets that I may want to purchase. Another thing you might probably do is refinancing. Now, right now, for student loans, I would say don't even touch that, because you have the best, interest rate, which is 0. And once they figure everything out, then we can just kind of wait. But, the interest rates are high right now. So I would just really kind of look and really think about that, because also when you shift and change and refinance, you lose any benefits from the previous loan that you may have. So those things I would say proceed with caution when it comes to refinancing. I mean, for some people it might work, but like when it comes to the student loans, I say don't even look at that as well. And also just really evaluate some of the things that you need to do. Like I said, for me, it was, okay, I made way too many trips to Starbucks. Perhaps I needed to make my own coffee and just do my own thing, bring it with me to work, or have it in my car as I'm driving. I can drink it. And then that way I'm not spending a lot of money. And also really be a savvy customer. Like right now, we're inundated with a bunch of different, okay, buy this and you get extra off. And you have to really think, okay, have a list of the people you want to purchase gifts for the holidays. And then say, okay, I know so-and-so likes these products, these shower gels, and or a particular product, then make it be useful to you. Don't just go and just, when you buy these and fall into the trap of okay, they're sending me these coupons, so I have to use them. But do you really need them? Just really be strategic about, okay, who really likes, for example, the body shop that who's on my list, that who would really appreciate that, as opposed to just buying it just to have stuff in the house, because of course they're trying to give you all these different discounts. So really be strategic about that. And you've been using some of your ID in certain places that will give you certain discounts. So before you use those discounts, really kind of make sure that it's going to be worthwhile to you, not just to purchase, and then you'll have the extra stuff sitting around your house, and then you look up and you go, oh my goodness, I didn't even really use that. I know I've been guilty of that in the past.
So Monique, and I think something else too, especially with the holidays that I know we were talking about with Terrence the other day, is researching like what's the best deal for you given what you have available to you. So like using credit card points, maybe if you're going on vacation and for a hotel, I know Dominique had a really great trip that she didn't pay much. I don't know if you want to tell people about.
Well, a few years ago, I lived in the state of Georgia. So in order for me to get home, I would fly Delta, which really kind of at that time dominated that market. That was before the Spirit Airlines and even they allowed JetBlue to even get into that airport. So I, used Delta. So I saved my points and saved my miles. So I had an opportunity to go to Hawaii with my family. And if you've ever been there, the tickets are quite expensive. So because I had those miles and I was really strategic in using my credit cards and I just signed up, it's free to sign up with any of these airlines. I was able to actually get on that plane and pay $20. And I was on the plane thinking, okay, they're going to just yank me off this plane. How? Because I used my miles. I had enough miles to be able to get on that plane really for free. And all I had to do was pay just the taxes. So those are the different things that I do too. And then like when I'm paying for gas, I'll use a particular credit card that's going to give me the miles and the points. And then of course I pay it off the following month, as opposed to one that's not giving me and those benefits, So basically make those credit cards work for you, and use those points and those miles that you have, and really become part of that savvy customer. Another thing that I've done, in preparation for my trip is really started to cook at home, because I know sometimes you don't have time. But when I try to like designate a day, like I cook. I try to meal prep, and then I'll have it for myself, whether so I can say, okay, I have it, and I could just throw it in the microwave, and then I'm able to eat it. That saves a lot of money, because when you go into the office, you're like, okay, let's go to Sweet Greens, let's go here. Next thing you know, you're spending $15, and for every single day that adds up. And so it's easier and more cost effective if I go to the grocery store and I buy what I want and buy what I need, and then I'm able to cook, and then I can plan it out and really kind of plan ahead. And then one of the things I also do is I compare certain supermarkets and I go to certain ones so I know the layout of the land, because when you go in there, it's designed to trap you. So I also go in there with a stomach full, because I've gone in there many times and I go, okay, I'm just going to spend $50. And then next thing you know, I'm spending 200, 300, and I'm looking at my card thinking, well, daggone it, what did I buy? I didn't buy anything. And so really being prepared for that. I go to specific aisles that I want. I'm not going to go through the whole, produce section. And then next thing you know, I'll get that apple, I'll get this. And then a lot of times I don't even eat them. And then I look and I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even get a chance to eat that, and it's going bad. So I make sure that I make a list before I even go there, because I go to specific ones or that are close by, and then I just grab what I need. And then I have specific days that I go. I'm not going to go on a Saturday afternoon, to be more specific, a Friday afternoon. I found out that Thursday mornings are good times to go. Friday mornings are good times to go, because they're preparing for the weekend. So they're bringing out fresh and new things. So you can grab some good deals. And also you can go on a Monday, if you have a chance, on Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon as well, because the crazy crowd from the weekend, it's dialed down a lot. You can just be able to get in and get out. And so you're not, overwhelmed, and you don't end up spending more money. Another thing, like I said, I try to go out to eat, especially now that the malls are a little crazed. If you're shopping for the holidays, try to have some snacks in the car. So you're not, next thing you know, you're spending that much money at the food court. And really that's the money you're trying to have to purchase a lot of your gifts for your family and your friends and your spouse or your children. Again, make those lists if you can, try to comparison shop and really kind of know, okay, what do they have in there that I really need, that there are specialty things that they have, or things that the rest of your family members may want or need on their list. And try to look for some discounts. Have any of you ever, I know like we have something called innings and outings and innings within the Harvard community. So we use that in for, games or other sports things. So there are some discounts that you can use for like hotels, as well as like museums. I love going to the museum. So really do some investigating and see what you can do to kind of get some of these discounts. And even something such, your alma mater can help you with some discounts. I know my alma mater, if I use a particular car insurance, they give a discount, and I wouldn't get that discount if I just went there on my own and try to get that discount. But because through my alma mater, I was able to get that discount. And even, share, actually, here we go. Someone put it. Does your employee have any discounts available to you? And if you've used them before, definitely please share that with us, and we can let other people in the Q&A. We'll let other people know, what those discounts are, and we can also kind of enlighten them as well. And then also your household. If someone has a discount, as one streaming like HBO, for example, the other one has Stars, the other one has Netflix, rather than everyone having their own separate one person can pay for one streaming, the other person can pay for the other. And that way you can save some money instead of everyone having their own individual one. If you have a roommate, that's definitely a way to save some money. Another way, if your particular cell phone service, I know T-Mobile has like these discounts on Tuesdays, and I believe Verizon has some as well. And those are really good ways to see. They have discounts for other things, to like the wholesale, like BJ's and Costco's, that are very beneficial as well. And then look at your financial institutions. Like, for example, we're having some rates right now with CDs, so you can, call or look on our website at hubcu.org and find out some of what are some of our rates as well. Let me check the Q&A to see what someone says. We have a benefit hub, so they use AAA discounts. I do too. I love my AAA discounts. They're really helpful for hotels, for airlines as well. And I know I have a couple of people who I'm friends with. They have AARP, and they use those discounts to get phones for their parents for like less than $20, just simple plans, that they can use. And even again, traveling and hotels, and those are really good options. Someone else has also shared workingadvantage.com. That's another good one. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us. And McDahlia said she uses the AAA discount for her mechanics, and they get discounts there as well. Ah, that's good. Thank you. What are some of the ways that you save money? You can share that with us on the Q&A. Someone put healthcare worker discounts, id.me. Okay. I didn't know that. So those are good things that how we can save some money. What are some of the ways that you save money? I know I've shared some of them as far as like any of the airlines. I sign up for them because those miles really help when you think about the costs, especially now more people are traveling post-pandemic really. And so I feel like they all of a sudden just hiked up the prices on the flights. And so, we have to figure out different ways to beat them. So what are some ways, some websites, some strategies what you guys use to save some money? You can share that with us as we proceed in the Q&A section. And so those are good ways to save money. And one of the things you can do is increasing your income. Right now, because the holidays are upon us, a lot of the stores are open really late. They're open 9, 10 o'clock. So if you can really, and they're looking for people. That's the thing. They're looking for people. That's a good way to make that extra money where, okay, that money is going straight to just purchasing, the holiday gifts, because then comes January, you don't have buyer's remorse. You don't go, oh my goodness, what have I done? I've overspent. So those are, and if you have a side hustle, for example, if you're a good writer, you can read people's, papers or resumes. You can help them with that. And that's a good way to do that. Someone put in the Q&A, they said, I'm only saving for my retirement right now through my employer's plan. Yeah. You can also do some other ways to save. I would talk to a financial counselor as well. They can find different ways you can save some money for your retirement, because I think a lot of us, we're behind. I know I'm guilty of that as far as that retirement, because we're kind of living for today, but retirement definitely comes. Another way you can increase your income, for example, if you're really good with, doing hair or doing makeup, you can do that as a side hustle to really save some money and put that money aside. You can allocate it to different places. Your emergency savings fund, if you like to travel, if you're thinking about purchasing a home or purchasing a brand new vehicle, though you can use that extra expense to help you with your budget. Some money tips that you can try. For example, you can schedule a day and say, you know what? I'm not spending money on Sundays, or a particular day, whatever works for you. Another thing you can do is just set up automatic savings account. One person I know does that, but with a different bank, where they really have to physically go to that bank. So because they know they have to physically go to that bank, you just kind of lose interest. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to that bank. So then that money is, you're not going to be able to easily access that money. You can use different separate savings accounts. Migdalia talked about this earlier. You can say, okay, this is my emergency fund, this is my travel fund, and this is just savings just to have to reach whatever goal that you have. And then, scheduling like maybe 10, 15 minutes, because life is busy, you have a lot going on. You can just do a 15-minute, just a quick check-in to see if you're on budget, what you need to adjust. For example, you probably could have saved more in March, but now you're not able to save that much because you have to reroute your money in a different way. Again, trying to make those purchases for the holidays. And then you can do things like I mentioned earlier, rotating your subscriptions, whether, it's a streaming a service or a subscription to a magazine or newspaper. You can rotate them if you have roommates or anyone else in the household. Those are good different ways in order to save some money. So we've been talking, myself and Migdalia. So some of the things that you can start doing, what are some of your next steps? You already know your money personality right now. So just some of the different things you can do is really just start setting up a budget. And then, pick one little thing, a little money tip that you learned from myself and Migdalia that you can just start to implement in your life. This week, next week, and then we can even get a jump on the New Year's resolution that's coming up in January, so that you can get those things started, so you can be on the right path. So what are some of the tips that you're able to you will implement? You can share that with us in the Q&A. While you're doing that, I wanted to remind you we have a blog as well. So it's blog.huecu.org, and with that blog we talk about a variety of different things. Should I buy a house right now with all the different the interest rate going up in a way? Is that something that's accessible to me? Elder care, different ways that we can help elders budget, different spending. So it's really small and digestible information that you can really read on your own online. So really good little tips there, really great information as well on the blog. Wait, before I move on, someone has a Q&A. They said it was helpful. I'm finding out right now I can have some of my paycheck allocated to another account, like my savings account. I don't have my ATM card linked to the account. I know it's very hard because you want to go there and get money out. And then especially if your bank is not local, then they charge you a fee, and then that particular bank charges you a fee, and then it all adds up as well. And I wanted to talk to you guys really quickly. Migdalia mentioned this too, accessing GreenPath. And GreenPath has different financial experts on board to really help you get online, and it's free. So you can access that at huecu.org/GreenPath. The experts speak more than 150 languages. You can reach out to them and they can help you, if you're a member or not, to access a lot of different information. And depending where you are on in the country, they have relationships with different vendors and different financial institutions, and they can work out different payment plans for you and really kind of give you more of a advice that will be specific to you and your needs. And Migdalia put that in the chat for in case you may have missed it. And then at the end, we also have a survey we'd like for you to take, huecu.org/survey. Just let us know how we did and how we can improve any of our webinars as well. And wanted to let you know that, we're not financial experts. We like to have these presentations really just as an educational tool, just to give you some advice to kind of get you started on your right path. And then, you have to really contact a financial advisor, certified financial advisor, who can give you specific examples that are really specific to you and your needs. And of course, keep in touch with us. You can follow us on any of our socials, and a lot of our presentations are on our YouTube channel at My HUECU. And if you have any questions or any kind of answer, anything that you may have forgotten to ask us, you can just go on our website, huecu.org. And then, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as well. And, just feel free to contact any of us. If you're close to LMA, go to LMA, and hopefully you have some free time on Friday to come and hang out with us, grab some goodies, and just to come pop your head in, just say hello, and see if you have any questions. And, we're here to help you, and we're here to make sure that you're on the right path to your great financial future. And thank you so much today for joining us. Migdalia, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Nothing else. Just a big thank you to everyone for spending this time with us.
Thank you, and have a great holiday. If we don't get a chance to see you, if you're not able to come and join us on Friday.